Sales are down almost 16% in Greenville County. There's tons of headlines coming out every day that are doom and gloom about the real estate market. So what the heck is actually going on in the Greenville, South Carolina real estate market, you might be wondering. Hi, I'm Whaley, your favorite Greenville realtor. I'm going to tell you the truth about what's going on right now in the real estate market. Now, I don't know exactly when you'll end up watching this, so I'm filming this around early June of 2023. Let's get to it. You saw several articles that popped up, and I can totally understand if you're not in the real estate market every day, some of this stuff can seem really scary and it's really hard to know what's true. You see a positive headline, a negative headline, so let's sort through it all. A big thing that we really want to remember here is that real estate is hyper local. You really have to make sure you're talking to an expert in your specific real estate market. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, as we've already talked about. Let's get to some of these national headlines though, and let's get an understanding of everything that's going on with the real estate market so that you know exactly what that means for your situation. What I thought was interesting, and I showed this article already, Yahoo Finance put out two separate articles within 2 days of each other, one of which says basically that the housing market is going to see the biggest decline it's ever seen since World War II. When you read through that article, they say there's multiple sources out there quoting that the housing market's going to fall between 10 and 15% in value. But they don't quote exactly who those sources are, and I haven't seen any source specifically that is a reputable knowledge source on the real estate market that's come anywhere close to those kind of doom and gloom predictions. The other one talks about a definitive recovery, and it talks about the Case-Shiller index. When we look at the Case-Shiller index, it's actually looking at repeat sales method. What that simply means, it's looking at 123 Main Street in a way that each month, if it were to sell, so say January of 2023 to February of 2023, how would it have changed in price? The reason I think that's important to you as a homeowner is because when you look at the median or the average price, all of that, truthfully, probably doesn't matter to you. All you care about is your home going up in value, your specific home, or is it going down in value? And that's what that index really tries to accomplish by looking at it. But of course, it's looking at it on a broad national scale, and it's looking at major metro markets, and it's only evaluating single family homes. So it's not the end all be all, but it is a great resource to look at. So we looked at the two different Yahoo financing pieces that had basically contradictory statements within a couple days of each other. Let's look at this article here by CNN Business, and it actually quotes the National Association of Realtors, it quotes the NAR stats, and it looks at price declines, and it says, the article basically states that we've seen the largest decline in prices that we've seen since 2012. So what it's looking at is actually the National Association of Realtors. They do a study, again, of a national data of real estate, and what they're looking at is the median price home. So I'm gonna leave that right here. We're gonna talk about median price home value here soon in this video. Please stick around for that. So we're looking at this money.com article, and in it, they try to address the question of where are home prices going in the summer of 2023. In the article, they actually quote that home prices have gone down the most they've gone down since 2012. And they use Redfin as their source, who also is using the median price for home values. Let's talk about median home price and why it might not be the best metric to use, especially in an ever-changing real estate market. So let's use an example with money of something that people are probably familiar with. So in our two examples, let's start with the first. In the first, you've got a penny, you've got a dime, and you've got a quarter. So you've got a total of 36 cents. Your median, since it's not the penny or the quarter, it's the dime. So your median then would be 10 cents. Let's go to our second example. You've got 2 nickels and a quarter in your pocket. So you've got 35 cents total in your pocket, only 1 cent less than your first example. Your median is 5 cents because it's not the first nickel, it's not the quarter, it's the nickel. So a big thing to know is median is a great thing to use when you have a very stable economic and real estate environment. But due to the rising interest rates, a lot of the other economic factors, people are just simply purchasing homes that are lower priced. Now we have a lot of new construction homes that are being purchased, and builders are just building at a cheaper price than what they were. They're just putting in less finishes, they're putting less square footage in homes, they're making smaller lots. they're doing things to make a more economical house for the buyer of today, which simply means when we look at it from that standpoint, the median, because there's going to be more sales at the lower end of the spectrum than there have been, is going to get pushed further down. And then when we look at the other side of that, of pre-existing homes, because people have interest rates that are really favorable right now, they're not wanting to exchange their house and go and buy a more expensive property, so people in the higher price ranges are choosing to just stay put for the time being. And people in the lower price ranges, or people that potentially have already paid off their house, they're the ones that are deciding to sell because the interest rate and the economic environment doesn't impact them as much. So I wouldn't look at the median price and have a panic. And again, we're also talking about national data. The last thing that I want to mention, and this is why it's so important to get local real estate news. When we look at the National Association of Realtors study that they did of home prices recently, it's actually negative 0.9%. If you look at that study, 3 of the 4 are actually positive, 1 is negative, which is the West, and it's negative 7.5%. The West also has the highest priced homes. So it's seeing big declines. We're talking about median sales price and all these other studies, and that number is getting pushed down. Now, places in the West are seeing home prices, same sale, decline. There's been a major pullback in job opportunities in the tech sector and a lot of the other things that drive the economy out West. It's really unfortunate for all the people that are experiencing that, of course, but when we look at this in correlation to the entire US, we notice that home prices are actually going up in 3 of the 4 regions of the country. So again, let's look at super hyper local data, because that's important to you if you're here in Greenville and you want to know, is it the right time to sell a house? Is it the right time to buy a house? What's happening? Should I wait for home prices to drop? Those are all questions I get asked every day. Let's talk about Greenville now. The first thing I need to say before talking about buying or selling a house is you should have a specific need. If you're out there and you're renting and you want to buy a home and you think you're going to be in that property for a long time and you can afford the payment, then yeah, it's probably a great thing to go ahead and buy a home. Pretty much any research you ever look at shows that someone who owns a home versus someone who doesn't is going to be wealthier, and they're going to be in a better financial position in life. When we look at Greenville, typically the first question someone asks me is my home going up or is it going down in value? If we look at the average and the median price, both of those are pointing up. So if you're a homeowner in Greenville, good news, your home is still going up in value. If you look at 22 versus 23, year over year, we're up either 2.8 or 3.1% depending on if we want to use median or average price. So the home prices are still going up in value. As far as how long does it take to get a home sold, if we're looking at existing inventory, meaning it's not a new construction property, it's taking about 30-ish days to get a home sold, which is still extremely fast. So for that seller that's worrying about, do I have to do a whole bunch of repairs? Is it going to take forever to sell my home? Is there going to be a lot of inconveniences? We're really not seeing that. We're still seeing multiple offer situations for sellers as well. For the buyer that's out there in Greenville, interest rates have more than doubled in the last year and a half, and people are often wondering, should I just wait for interest rates to go down? Should I wait for the market to come down? What should I do? Well, I hope we've already established in this video that the market's not coming down. When we look at the Case-Shiller Index, even nationally, prices are going back up. When we look at Greenville, we have not seen any price declines when we look at a year-over-year metric at any point. So it does not look like for the foreseeable future out there that a buyer is going to be able to purchase the home at a lower price. Right now, there's about 3 times the amount of inventory that's out there than there was at this point last year. So you got 3 times the amount of options. Sellers are much more negotiable. You can get a price that's much more favorable, and you can negotiate terms that work better for you. You don't have to go in and buy a house with waiving inspections and doing some of the crazy stuff people did in the last 2.5 years to get their home. So to me, for a buyer, it's a win-win situation. You can buy a home with all those things that I mentioned, and if interest rates stay the same, you win. If interest rates go down, guess what? You have the option to refinance. And if interest rates go up, then of course you won again because you got a lower interest rate than everyone else. If you're just kind of sitting around waiting, wondering what's going to happen, I would recommend not doing that. If you've been thinking about buying a home, I really would act now, especially when we look at new construction. 52% of the homes that are available right now are new construction. And because there's so much new construction inventory that's out there and the builders want to sell it, they're offering some really great incentives. And when people are talking about interest rates and they want to have a better affordability for their home, I'm seeing tons of builders that are giving interest rate incentives to make sure that you buy it at a lower interest rate. You can do buy downs. You can buy the rate down either temporarily or permanently. You can make the home price lower. You can get blinds, and you can get all these extra add-ons to your house. So that is a really great option for the person out there that's wondering if they should buy, but they also want to make sure that they're being very budget friendly. So to recap everything, number one, make sure you're getting hyper local news when it's concerning real estate values, because it is so hyper local. Number two, make sure you're reading and really digging into these headlines so you know what it means for you. And number three, it still is a great time in Greenville to buy or sell a house, depending on what your strategy is. And if you're thinking about doing so, feel free to contact me and my team. We'd love to help you make an informed decision of whatever works best for you. We hope you enjoyed this video. We hope you learned a lot from it. Leave a comment down below. What's something that surprised you, or what's a question that you have about the real estate market? If you like this, please give us a big thumbs up, and we look forward to catching you on the next video.